Today I'd like to talk to you about the differences of Moxibustion in Japanese acupuncture, TCM or traditional Chinese medicine, and maybe Moxibustion that you might actually get in China. All right, so you ready? Here we go. So let's start off with traditional Chinese medicine or TCM. If you're already going to see a practitioner in the States or around the world, chances are your practitioner practices a version of TCM. There's a lot of different styles within TCM, but most of the practitioners, their education is based on the TCM foundation. There's nothing good or bad about TCM. It's just a little bit more of an abbreviated version of acupuncture in both a historical sense and also in the medical sense, in how much medical training they're getting and the depth in which they get training in hands-on practice. But all TCM acupuncture still works really, really great. So most likely, if you're going to a TCM practitioner's office, they're probably using something that looks a little bit like this. Now this is we call it stick moxa. In Japanese, they would call it bolkyu. It is still used in Japanese acupuncture and in Japan. And what we do with this is we take off this red paper. If you guys can see, it's like wrapped in some red paper. We take it off, we'll light the end, and then we'll use it to do a distal heat on your skin. So we kind of move it in different directions. You might circle it, you might move it back and forth. There's a lot of different ways that someone might use the bolkyu or the stick moxa. So what's inside of it? So all moxa is made from mugwort, which is a 5-pronged leaf. It's a really beautiful plant, actually, that we consider a weed here in Colorado. Mugwort in particular is not only used for food, but it's also used as a medicine. And so how mugwort is made is that you'll take early spring leaves from the mugwort plant, not the stems, just the leaves, and then you'll lay them out in the nice hot sun. You let them dry until they're nicely dried, and then you grind them up like in a pestle and mortar. I did this actually in acupuncture school in Japan as an assignment, and over several months, of course. And I think it was like a garbage bag, like a full-on garbage bag full of mugwort leaves, literally created an ounce or two of refined moxa. Now within this stick, this is made in China. It's actually a Chinese brand. It has a not so refined version of the mugwort, which means it's just not ground down as much. Because of that, it's a little bit stinkier. Oftentimes, I find that practitioners here are giving this to their patients to use at home, but this is really, really stinky and it creates a lot of smoke. So that's the first type, stick moxa. All right, so the second type is, of course, the stick-on moxa that I've already done another video about. If you guys are interested, just got to click below. I have it in the comments. But yeah, so stick moxa is the same thing as the stick-on moxa, is the same thing as the bolkyu or stick moxa. It's going to have the moxa pushed into this little piece of paper that's connected to a base, and then you just peel it off and you stick it on. If you want to know how to use that, again, just look at the other video. This one too is a little bit stinky because it's not a very high grade. This one is made in Japan, so it has better quality than I find than most of the Chinese brand moxas. But that's just me being a little stuck up probably. Anyway, they are a little bit more stinky, but they're super easy to use, and it's more of a direct contact for the Moxibustion. That's what I give my patients to use at home because I find it's a little bit more precise and not as much smell. All right, so the third type, so we're kind of going down, up in quality, I guess you could say. We use this for something in Japan called ShinKyu. It's, as you can see, moxa, when it's in its dried, fluffy form, is very fluffy. It looks like cotton. Now this, because of the coloring, you can see it's quite dark. It's a little bit rough in the fibers. This is also a low quality of moxa. So we would use this for either needle top moxa, where we would make a ball and put it on top of the needle, or for something that's called ShinKyu. If you're interested in learning how to make ShinKyu, if you're an acupuncturist watching this, then you should sign up for my email newsletter because I'm going to be giving you a free ShinKyu video to make ShinKyu in your office. It's super effective for a ton of things, and I'll go over that in that video. Essentially what ShinKyu is I'm going to make this one a little bit, not a little bit, quite large, just so it's easier to see. So it's going to be like a larger version of the full grain or half grain moxa that we might burn on a patient's body to elicit response. ShinKyu is larger. Don't worry, we never let this burn all the way down to your skin. This is used until you feel that it's hot. And it's really, really great for bruising, for example. Like if you come in and you've got a really, really bad bruise or a bad contusion that you've actually, you've already gone to the ER, you've had it checked out, everything's okay, and you just want to get rid of the bruise, this ShinKyu is really great for getting rid of that. Some people I know in Nepalese style acupuncture, which it really is a Nepalese style of Moxa acupuncture that they've integrated. They use it for scar treatment. It's great for sore muscles. Just a variety of things. Yeah. So then coming down to Moxa that will burn directly on your body and allow you to feel the heat, like it'll actually contact with your body, is this stuff. Now, this is really, really high grade Moxa. If you can, it's kind of hard to see within the box, and I don't want to touch it because that ruins it, but this is really light cotton. It's really, really fluffy. The fibers are really ground down, so they're really refined, and we might use for a half grain or a full grain, I mean less than really this much, and I would roll it between my fingers, excuse me, if you can see that. You okay? Yeah, we're okay. So yeah, you would use, really less than this to do a half grain or a full grain Moxa on a specific point in the body. And as I've gone over in other videos, that's going to elicit a heat shock protein response. It builds your immune system. You're going to get more white blood cells. Wow, my voice is really going. Yeah, so it's really, really great. I hope that helps you to understand the differences in the types of Moxa. And as I said before, so in TCM, in a normal practitioner's office, they're just going to be using this. I said before, if you go into a TCM practitioner's office, they're just going to be using this. But if you come into my office or someone who does Japanese acupuncture, they're going to be using a variety of Moxa styles, I hope. And if they're not, you should tell them that they should come and learn from me or learn in Japan, because Moxa is incredible. Yeah. So, but definitely if you're coming into Bumblebee for treatment, you or your child, you're going to get a variety of Moxa used on your body depending on what I feel is best for you, except for the stick Moxa, because this stuff is so stinky. I can't give it away. I really can't. I hate it. It's just not my favorite. But I know how to use it, so, and I'm going to have to teach it when I teach at the local Colorado School for Traditional Chinese Medicine, but it's not rocket science at all. Anyway, so I hope that kind of covers the differences in the styles in traditional TCM and a Japanese Moxa. The only thing I haven't talked about is in China. What kind of Moxa are they going to normally use there? Because that's for what most people consider the source. They don't realize that Japan and Korea actually also are the source for acupuncture as well. But, sideline, right? If you were to go into China and actually get an acupuncture treatment there, they may use Moxa. If they do, they're probably only going to use this. Very few places use anything other than this. I think if you were to go to a very traditional practitioner, very few still exist in China, then you might have it. But yeah. So, bonus for those of you who watched to the end, you're going to see an awesome form of Moxa that I super love, but can't use a lot because it's really smoky. And so I'm going to show that to you guys now. The last version of Moxa I would like to share is called Nepalese Moxa. And for those of us who are acupuncturists, this is kind of like so cool. It's something that's actually a tradition of Moxibustion that died out in Japan and was reinvented in Nepal by one of my teachers, Hatha Sensei. And she actually went over there, created acupuncture school, did a lot of nonprofit work to create industry over there. And this is one of the industries that she created, was having women collect the Moxibustion from the hillsides, because again, it's just a weed, it grows naturally there, refine it down, and then pack it into, this is just a fourth of a stick, pack it into this kind of stick Moxa. Now, how you use this is so much fun. So unlike the other stick moxa where it's just indirect, it's just above your skin, with this kind, you actually put a towel over your patient's skin and use it as a form of like anma massage slash Moxibustion. It feels incredible. It's so, so great. I love it, especially for eye strain. You can do it directly on the eyes, on the back of the head. I mean, literally anywhere, as long as you have a towel to cover them, because you don't want to burn your patient. But it's an incredible version of moxa. Side note though, the only bad point about this, is that comfortable, bud? The only bad point is that it creates a lot of smoke, and so they sell a special holder for it. If you're interested in buying this specific type of moxa, then you should contact Sanke, who is, the owner is Enomoto-san in Japan. His website is oq83, .com.org. I don't know. I'll put it in the notes below. But his shop is the only shop in Japan that still sells this stuff, and it's quite incredible. If you're interested in learning it, then you should give me a call, and we can set up a special study session for it, depending on where you're located. Anyway, so those are all the different styles of moxa. Of course, I'm a snob, and I think the Japanese version of acupuncture and Moxibustion is, of course, the best. But I'm a bit of a snob because that's where I learned. But of course, judge for yourself. Definitely go and get Moxibustion from your practitioner. It really helps you heal. And if you are a practitioner, I highly encourage you to do advanced learning in your Moxibustion practice. All right, so that's all for today. I hope you guys haven't forgotten to subscribe, like, and share this video. And don't forget to, if this gave you any benefit, please pass it on to another person who you think might benefit from it. All right, thanks so much. Bye.